Hey folks, it's Monday, July 5th, almost 5 o'clock in the evening. Just creating a short little video to share with everybody about our duty officer program. As I understand that we have lots of folks out there, new folks, know that we have a duty officer, but don't necessarily know what it's for. And so I thought I would share the guidance that we give to our duty officers, our shift officers, and all, everybody, and kind of go through it real quick so we can hopefully get more people familiarized with it. Essentially in the summertime, when we transition from burning season, if you will, when people can burn and whatnot, we transition to fire season. We like to implement the duty officer program just to provide an extra layer of coverage for the fire district during the fire season. It really begins when ODF declares moderate fire behavior. And as you can see on this document up on the screen, for 2021, we have duty officers assigned to each shift. It doesn't necessarily mean that there's 2 duty officers or 3 duty officers each night or weekend. It's just that like on A shift right here, myself and AJ Zanich share the duty officer responsibilities. We communicate with each other to see who's available or who needs to go do something is unavailable for duty officer that night, and then we communicate with A shift, Captain Swanson. And so for A shift it's AJ and I. For B shift, it's Chief McLaughlin and our maintenance officer Mackenzie Turnbull, and C shift is shared with 3 volunteers: Battalion Chief Goodnow, Lieutenant Panites, and Engineer Simpa. This year, coverage began Friday, June 4th. That's when we went to moderate. Now that's not ever set in stone, planned, or anything like that. That's just how it laid out. And that's when I sent this document out to the staff and officers and whatnot. Duty officer basically requires somebody to be on the hook on weekday evenings from 5 p.m. until the following morning at 8, and then 24 hours on Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays, and holidays. We provide a staff vehicle. And just a few bullet points, the communication, coordination, cooperation are really the program success. Here's some things that I expect of the duty officer. Make sure that they're familiar with the radio system. We have a program that's available to our officers that looks at CAD. You can't make any changes or log into CAD itself. This is just a viewer of CAD, so we can see what's going on 8,500 calls and stuff like that. Let's see. Yeah, it's more pertinent to what the duty officer specific. But here we get down to the nuts and bolts. To answer some of the questions that I've received recently. What does a duty officer do? And basically it's supporting and backfilling the on-duty crew and the on-duty shift officer. It's to ensure that the district gets covered if the crew gets pulled into an incident, might be tied up for a while, whether it's on the backside on Sterling Creek, or clear up by the lake, or gets pulled out of district to go to Williams or something like that. The duty officer is the one that comes in behind to make sure that coverage is taken care of. Now the coverage doesn't necessarily have to be the duty officer themselves. The duty officer could call around and see if they can get somebody to backfill. So it's just that next line of officer to make sure that we get response. If a unit is responding out of district, we always make sure that there is supervision on that unit in the form of an officer or somebody like that. Sometimes we ask the duty officer to fill that role jump on the engine as it's going out on a deployment, one of those regional, local deployments, or to backfill at the headquarters to make sure that the shift officer can go out of district. Also, one of the main things that the duty officers are tasked with is retrieving personnel from the hospitals. Occasionally, one of our personnel is on a medical call and then is asked to ride in on the ambulance to the hospital to help with patient care, and then that person needs a ride back out to headquarters. And so it's really up to the duty officer to either make it happen themselves, do it themselves, or to find somebody else to do it. That's their responsibility. And then ultimately also, just as the second in officer, they could fill just about any role on a major or significant event. It could be to implement the significant event protocol, which is another video that I need to do. They could be tasked with coordinating a landing zone for Mercy 105. That actually happens quite often. May just come in and do accountability on a major call for the shift officer who's running the IC. The duty officer just come in and do whatever it is that IC needs to happen. And I find that duty officer oftentimes takes on water supply also. And then the duty officer is responsible for coordinating with mutual aid partners, familiarization with the mutual aid agreement, and eventually getting familiar with the Fire Defense Board Chief program. But really, that level is currently at the operations and fire chief's positions. And so that's the long and short of what a duty officer is. It, like I said, it started Friday, June 4th because of moderate fire behavior, and then it'll continue until such time as we're no longer at moderate or higher. And so there's no way to put a date on that. Sometimes it's late, as early as late September. Typically it's sometime in October. But like in 2018, I think it went well into November also. So, but we'll make that announcement when duty officer ends. Thanks for sticking with me, and we'll see you on the next one.